close your eyes for a moment. Picture the most recognizable symbol from ancient Egypt. Not the pyramids, not the Sphinx, but that striking eye outlined in bold black lines, adorned with the curved markings beneath. The Eye of Horus. You've seen it on jewelry, tattoos, movie posters. But what if I told you this wasn't just decorative art? What if this ancient symbol contains one of the most profound truths about existence itself? Here's something that will blow your mind. When ancient Egyptian mathematicians broke down the Eye of Horus into its component parts, each piece represented a fraction. The eyebrow was 1/8, the pupil 1/4, the corner of the eye 1/2, the curved marking below 1/16, the teardrop 1/32, the final marking 1/64. Now, if you're good with math, you might be adding these up in your head right now. 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus 1/16 plus 1/32 plus 1/64. That gives you 63/64. Not one, not complete. Always missing that final, elusive 1/64. For over 3,000 years, humans have wondered, was this an accident? A mathematical error by ancient scribes? Or was there something deeper here? Something that speaks directly to the human condition? Because let's be honest, we're all obsessed with being complete, aren't we? We chase perfection in our bodies, our careers, our relationships. We demand reasons for everything that happens to us. We want the full picture, the complete explanation, the total understanding. We want to be whole. But what if the missing fraction isn't a flaw in the symbol? What if it's the most important part? What if that empty space, that 1/64 that never gets filled, is exactly where the universe speaks to us? Tonight, we're going on a journey through one of humanity's oldest mysteries. We're going to discover why perfection might be the enemy of wholeness, why the most important truths can't be measured, and why that missing piece of the Eye of Horus might just be the key to understanding everything that's ever happened to you. The ancient Egyptians believed this eye could see beyond the visible world. By the time we're done here, you might discover you have that same power. You might learn to see with the eye beyond reason, the eye that trusts what can't be measured. Number 1, perfection versus wholeness. Let me tell you the story behind this symbol, because it's also the story of your life. Horus was a falcon god, the divine eye that watched over Egypt. But this wasn't always a symbol of protection and power. Originally, it was a symbol of destruction. You see, Horus lost his eye in the most brutal way possible. In battle with Set, the god of chaos, storms, and everything that tears apart what we try to build. Set didn't just wound Horus. He shattered the eye completely, tore it into pieces, scattered those fragments across the cosmos like a broken mirror, reflecting nothing but darkness. But here's where the story gets interesting. Thoth, the god of wisdom and healing, gathered those scattered pieces. One by one, he found them in the cosmic debris. And then he did something remarkable. He put the eye back together. Not perfectly, not completely, but whole. The restored eye was different from the original. It bore the marks of its breaking. It carried the memory of its scattering. It was, mathematically speaking, incomplete, but it was also something the original eye never was. It was wise. Science tells us the same story. When you break a bone, the healing process doesn't just repair the damage. It builds new bone tissue that's actually stronger than what was there before. The break becomes the strongest point. Metallurgists have known this for centuries. When you want to make steel stronger, you heat it until it nearly breaks apart, then forge it back together. Look at the cosmos itself. The most beautiful things in the universe are born from destruction. Supernovas, the violent death of massive stars, scatter heavy elements across space. Those elements become the building blocks of planets, of life, of us. We are literally made from stellar destruction. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you're breathing right now, All of it was forged in the dying moments of ancient stars. Your own life follows this pattern. Think about the moments that change you most profoundly. Were they the moments when everything was perfect, when you had it all figured out? Or were they the moments when something inside you broke open, when you lost something you thought you needed, when your carefully constructed world fell apart and you had to rebuild yourself from scattered pieces? Here's what the Eye of Horus is trying to tell you. You don't need to be perfect to be whole. That relationship that ended messily, those dreams that didn't work out the way you planned, that period of your life when everything felt chaotic and uncertain, those weren't deviations from your path. They were the path. Every crack in your foundation became a place where light could enter. Every break in your story became a place where a new chapter could begin. We live in a culture obsessed with perfection. Social media feeds full of curated moments. Self-help books promising to fix what's wrong with you. Productivity systems designed to optimize every minute of your day. But what if nothing about you needs to be fixed? What if the pieces of yourself that feel broken or incomplete aren't problems to be solved, but mysteries to be honored? The ancient Egyptians understood something we've forgotten. Wholeness isn't the absence of brokenness. Wholeness is what emerges when you stop trying to hide your scars and start seeing them as proof of your capacity to heal. It's what happens when you stop chasing the perfect version of yourself and start embracing the complete version, the one that includes both your light and your shadows, your victories and your defeats, your clarity and your confusion. The Eye of Horus wasn't restored to its original state. It was restored to something better, something that had been through destruction and chosen to see again, something that had learned to find meaning not in spite of its brokenness, but because of it. Your scars aren't evidence of your failures. They're proof of your resilience. Your incomplete moments aren't signs that you're behind in life. They're signs that you're exactly where you need to be in the great cosmic process of becoming whole. The eye that sees beyond reason is the eye that has been broken and restored. It's the eye that knows that wholeness and perfection are not the same thing. And it's the eye that you've been developing all along, through every moment of confusion, every season of chaos, every experience that left you feeling scattered and unsure. You are not broken. You are being made whole. Number 2, beyond logic. Now, let's dive deeper into that mathematical mystery, because it reveals something profound about the nature of reality itself. Remember those fractions: 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32, 1/64, adding up to 63/64. Always missing that final piece. For thousands of years, scholars assumed this was simply an error in ancient calculation. But what if it wasn't an error at all? What if it was the most sophisticated insight about existence ever encoded in a symbol? Modern physics has discovered something the ancient Egyptians somehow knew. The universe is fundamentally mysterious. Not mysterious because we haven't figured it out yet, but mysterious by nature. Werner Heisenberg proved that you cannot simultaneously know both the position and velocity of a particle. The more precisely you measure one, the more uncertain the other becomes. It's not a limitation of our instruments. It's a fundamental feature of reality itself. The universe literally reserves certain information for itself. Think about that. The cosmos operates on principles that can't be fully grasped by logic alone. We can measure the effects, we can predict the patterns, but there's always something beyond the reach of our equations. Dark matter makes up about 85% of all matter in the universe, and we can't directly observe it. We know it's there because of what it does, how it bends light, how it shapes the formation of galaxies, but it remains invisible to our most sophisticated instruments. Dark energy is even more mysterious. It makes up about 68% of the total energy in the universe, and it's causing the expansion of space itself to accelerate. We can measure its effects, but we have no idea what it actually is. Together, dark matter and dark energy comprise about 95% of everything that exists. We live in a universe that is almost entirely made of things we cannot see or understand. The Eye of Horus was trying to tell us this 3 millennia before we had telescopes or particle accelerators. That missing 1/64th isn't a flaw in ancient mathematics. It's a recognition that complete knowledge is impossible. There will always be something beyond measurement, beyond logic, beyond our capacity to fully grasp. But here's the thing. This isn't a limitation. It's a liberation. How much of your anxiety comes from trying to figure everything out? How much of your suffering comes from demanding that life make logical sense? How often do you torture yourself trying to understand why certain things happen, why people acted the way they did, why your carefully laid plans fell apart? We live as if logic and understanding are the keys to peace. But what if the opposite is true? What if the key to peace is learning to be comfortable with mystery? Indigenous wisdom traditions have always known this. They speak of the great mystery, the unknowable source from which all things emerge. They don't try to solve the mystery. They learn to live in relationship with it. They understand that some truths can only be felt, not thought. Some wisdom can only be received, not achieved. Your intuition operates in this mysterious space. When you have a gut feeling about someone you've just met, when you sense something is about to change in your life, when you feel drawn to make a decision that doesn't make logical sense, that's you accessing the same mysterious realm that the Eye of Horus points toward. How many times have you ignored your intuition because you couldn't explain it logically, only to realize later that it was trying to guide you towards something important? How many times have you demanded reasons from life, when what life was asking for was trust? The missing 1/64th is the space where your intuition lives. It's the realm where synchronicities occur, where meaningful coincidences unfold, where the universe seems to respond to your deepest needs in ways that can't be explained but can definitely be experienced. Think about the most profound moments in your life. Falling in love, feeling a deep connection with nature, experiencing art that moves you to tears, sensing the presence of someone you've lost. Could you explain any of these experiences through logic alone? Or did they happen in that mysterious space beyond measurement? The Eye of Horus is inviting you to expand your definition of knowing. Yes, use your logical mind as a powerful tool, but don't make it your only tool. Learn to trust the wisdom that can't be explained. Learn to navigate by the inner compass that points toward truth even when you can't see the destination. The universe keeps its secrets not to frustrate you, but to keep you in wonder. That missing fraction isn't what's wrong with existence. It's what keeps existence magical. Number 3, the purpose of pain. Let's return to that moment when Set shattered Horus's eye, because in that act of destruction lies one of the most important truths you'll ever need to understand. Set wasn't just a god of chaos. He was necessary chaos. In Egyptian mythology, Set's storms brought the flooding of the Nile, which brought fertile soil, which brought life to the desert. Set's disruption of order created the conditions for new growth. The eye wasn't shattered randomly or meaninglessly. It was shattered as part of a larger cosmic process. Look around you right now at the natural world, and you'll see this principle everywhere. Forest fires, which seem so destructive, actually trigger the release of seeds that have been waiting decades to sprout. Some plants cannot reproduce without the intense heat of flame. The destruction is not the opposite of creation. It's the prelude to it. Volcanic eruptions bury entire landscapes in ash and lava, but volcanic soil is among the most fertile on Earth. The Hawaiian Islands, the wine regions of Italy, the coffee plantations of Central America, all built on a foundation of ancient destruction. Even in the vast cosmos, this pattern holds. When galaxies collide, an event that takes millions of years and involves trillions of stars, the result isn't annihilation. It's the birth of new stellar formations, new planetary systems, new possibility for life. The collision triggers massive bursts of star formation. Destruction and creation are not opposites. They're dance partners in the cosmic ballet. Your own life follows the same pattern, whether you realize it or not. Think about your deepest wounds, not the surface scratches, but the experiences that shattered something fundamental in how you saw yourself or the world. Maybe it was betrayal by someone you trusted completely. Maybe it was the loss of a dream you'd built your identity around. Maybe it was a period of depression or anxiety that left you feeling like a stranger to yourself. In the immediate aftermath, these experiences felt purely destructive. They left you scattered, confused, unsure of who you were or what you believed. You may have spent years trying to get back to who you were before, trying to restore the original I, but here's what the Eye of Horus reveals. You weren't supposed to go back. You were supposed to go through those experiences that wounded you. What did they teach you? How did they change your capacity for compassion? What strengths did you develop that you never knew you had? How did they deepen your understanding of what really matters in life? I'm not suggesting that suffering is good or that you should be grateful for painful experiences. Pain is pain, and it deserves to be honored as such. But what I am saying is that pain often carries hidden information. Information about what needs to change, about what you're truly capable of, about what you really value. The person you are now includes all of those experiences. Your wisdom wasn't built on your successes alone. It was built on the integration of your successes and your failures, your joys and your sorrows, your moments of clarity and your periods of confusion. You are whole not despite your wounds, but through them. This is why the restored Eye of Horus became a symbol of protection and wisdom. It had seen destruction and chosen to see again. It had been broken and rebuilt itself into something more resilient. It had learned that some battles are worth losing if they teach you how to win the war. What if every difficult experience in your life was set storm, necessary disruption that created the conditions for new growth? What if your heartbreaks were clearing space for deeper love? What if your failures were redirecting you toward your true purpose? What if your periods of confusion were actually periods of reorganization, when your psyche was rebuilding itself at a fundamental level? This doesn't mean you should seek out suffering or stay in harmful situations. It means you can stop seeing yourself as a victim of your experiences and start seeing yourself as a hero of a story that includes both destruction and restoration, both wounding and healing. The Eye of Horus suggests that there are no meaningless wounds. Every shattering serves a purpose, even when that purpose isn't immediately clear. Sometimes you have to be broken open for the light to get in. Sometimes you have to lose yourself completely to find out who you really are. Your scars are not evidence of your damage. They're evidence of your participation in the cosmic process of destruction and renewal that makes all life possible. They're proof that you've been initiated into one of the universe's deepest mysteries, that what wounds you may also be what empowers you. Number 4, the missing 164th. Now we come to the heart of the mystery, that missing 164th. That final fraction that never gets accounted for, never gets included in the sum. The ancient Egyptians had a name for this missing piece. They called it the portion of the gods. They believed that when Thoth restored the eye, he deliberately left this fraction incomplete, not because he couldn't find it, but because some things must remain beyond human reach. Some portion of every truth, every experience, every moment of existence belongs to the mystery itself. Modern astronomy has discovered something remarkably similar. We now know that approximately 95% of the universe consists of dark matter and dark energy, substances and forces we can detect through their effects but cannot directly observe or fully understand. The visible universe, everything we can see with our most powerful telescopes, every star and planet and galaxy, represents only about 5% of what actually exists. Think about that ratio for a moment. We live in a cosmos where 95% of reality is invisible to us. We can measure its influence. We can track its effects. We can build mathematical models that predict its behavior, but we cannot see it directly. The universe is overwhelmingly composed of mystery. This isn't a temporary situation waiting for better technology to solve it. This is a fundamental feature of existence itself. The cosmos reserves the vast majority of its secrets for itself. Your life operates by the same principle. How much of what shapes your daily experience is invisible? The historical events that created the culture you were born into, the evolutionary processes that built your capacity for language, emotion, and consciousness, the economic systems that determine what opportunities are available to you, the gravitational forces that keep your feet on the ground and your planet in orbit, the atmospheric conditions that allow you to breathe, the microbial ecosystem in your body that influences your mood and health. You navigate through layers upon layers of mystery every single day. Most of what makes your life possible operates completely outside your awareness or control. And that's not a problem to be solved. That's the way existence works. The missing 1/64th represents everything that's happening beyond your perception, everything that's working in your favor, without you knowing it, everything that's preparing to enter your life before you're ready to recognize it. It's the realm where synchronicities originate, those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random but too mysterious to be planned. It's where intuitive insights come from, where creative inspiration emerges, where healing happens at levels deeper than conscious effort can reach. When you meet someone who becomes important in your life, what led them to be in that exact place at that exact moment? When you stumble across exactly the book or article or conversation you needed to hear, what invisible forces align to make that happen? When you get that job, meet that person, find that opportunity, how much of the process was visible to you, and how much happened in the realm of the missing fraction? We live as if we're in control of our lives, as if we're consciously orchestrating our experiences. But if you're honest about it, how much of what's most meaningful in your life came through your deliberate planning, and how much emerged from sources you couldn't have predicted or controlled? That missing 1/64th is where grace lives. It's where help comes from directions you didn't know existed. It's where solutions appear for problems you thought were unsolvable. It's where love finds you when you stopped looking for it, where healing happens despite your best efforts to stay wounded, where meaning emerges from experiences that seem meaningless at the time. The ancient Egyptians understood that this missing fraction wasn't actually missing, it was reserved. It was the universe's way of staying involved in your story, of ensuring that no matter how much you figure out, there's always room for wonder, always space for surprise, always a possibility that what happens next will exceed your capacity to predict or control it. This is why the Eye of Horus became a symbol of protection. It wasn't just a 63/64th that you could see and understand that would watch over you. It was also the missing fraction, the invisible forces, the unknown allies, the unseen help that operates constantly beyond the reach of your conscious awareness. The missing piece isn't what's wrong with your life. It's what's working in your life that you can't see yet. It's the universe's way of staying personally involved in your story. It's the space where faith, hope, and wonder live. Number 5, everything happens for a reason. This brings us to perhaps the most profound truth encoded in the Eye of Horus. The idea that everything happens for a reason, but not in the way most people think. After the eye was restored, it didn't return to its original function as just an organ of sight. It became something far more powerful, a protective amulet, a symbol of divine order emerging from chaos, a reminder that destruction can serve creation. The Egyptians placed the symbol in tombs, on jewelry, in temples. They understood that the eye's greatest power came not from what it had always been, but from what it had become through the process of being broken and restored. This is a cosmic pattern. Stars must die for life to exist. Black holes, which seem like the ultimate destroyers, actually shape the formation of galaxies. They create the gravitational structure around which solar systems can form. Without black holes, there would be no galaxies. Without supernovas, there would be no heavy elements. Without collisions and disruptions, there would be no evolution, no complexity, no consciousness. Chaos is not the opposite of order. It's the path to deeper order. Your life follows the same cosmic principle. But here's where most people get confused about the phrase, everything happens for a reason. They think it means there's a predetermined plan, that someone or something consciously decided what should happen to you and when. That's not what the Eye of Horus suggests. Instead, it suggests something far more mysterious and far more empowering. That existence itself has an inherent tendency toward meaning. Not that meanings are predetermined, but that meanings emerge from whatever happens, including the things that seem meaningless or destructive at the time. Think about the most difficult period of your life. Maybe it's something you're going through right now, or maybe it's something you survived years ago. At the time, it probably felt random, unfair, meaningless. You may have asked, why is this happening to me? And gotten no answer. But now, looking back, can you see ways that experience changed you? Can you identify strengths you developed, insights you gained, empathy you cultivated that you wouldn't have access to without going through that difficulty? Can you see how it prepared you for challenges or opportunities that came later? Can you recognize ways it redirected your life towards something more authentic, to who you really are? The reason wasn't there at the beginning, waiting to be discovered. The reason emerged through the process of living through the experience and integrating its lessons. You participated in the creation of the meaning by how you chose to respond, how you chose to grow, how you chose to let the experience change you rather than just damage you. This is what the restored Eye of Horus represents. The wisdom that emerges when you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a participant in their transformation. When you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this here to teach me? Or how can I grow through this? Or what is this preparing me for? The universe doesn't give you experiences because you need to learn specific lessons. But the universe is structured in such a way that every experience contains a potential for learning, growth, and transformation if you're willing to engage with that potential. This is why some people emerge from difficult experiences bitter and closed, while others emerge wiser and more compassionate. It's not that some people get easier challenges. It's that some people get better at finding meaning in whatever challenges they face. The Eye of Horus suggests that your life is not a random collection of events happening to a passive observer. Your life is a co-creative process between you and the mystery itself. You don't control what happens, but you absolutely influence what it means and what you become through it. Every experience you've had, the beautiful ones and the terrible ones, the ones that made sense and the ones that still confuse you, has contributed to the unique constellation of wisdom, compassion, and strength that is you right now. Not because someone planned it that way, but because that's how consciousness works. It finds patterns, creates connections, discovers meanings. The Eye of Horus became a protective symbol not because it avoided destruction, but because it learned how to transform destruction into wisdom. That's your power too. That's your inheritance as a conscious being in a meaningful universe. Everything that has happened to you has become part of your ability to see beyond the visible, to trust beyond logic, to hope beyond current circumstances. The eye that sees beyond reason is the eye that has learned to find purpose in chaos, meaning in mystery, and order in apparent disorder. So here we are at the end of our journey through one of humanity's most enduring symbols. The Eye of Horus isn't just an ancient artifact collecting dust in museums. It's a cosmic map of how consciousness works, how meaning emerges, how healing happens, and how wholeness is achieved. Let me leave you with the 5 profound truths we discovered together. First, wholeness is not the same as perfection. You don't need to be perfect to be complete. Your scars, your struggles, your seemingly broken places, these aren't evidence of your failure. They're proof of your participation in the cosmic process of destruction and renewal that makes all growth possible. The eye that was shattered and restored sees more clearly than the eye that was never wounded. Second, not everything that matters can be measured. The most sophisticated ancient mathematicians knew what modern physics has rediscovered. Reality reserves certain secrets for itself. That missing 1/64th isn't a flaw in existence. It's a space where mystery, wonder, and intuitive wisdom live. Learn to navigate by the compass that points toward truth even when you can't see the destination. Third, what wounds you may be what empowers you. The experiences that feel most destructive often carry hidden information about your true strength, your deepest values, your authentic purpose. Pain is not meaningless suffering. It's often the universe's way of reorganizing your life at a fundamental level, clearing space for new growth, redirecting you toward what truly matters. Fourth, you're always supported by forces beyond your awareness. That missing fraction represents everything working in your favor that you can't see. The invisible helps, the unseen preparations, the mysterious forces that align to bring you what you need exactly when you need it. You are not navigating life alone, even when it feels that way. Fifth, meaning emerges from whatever happens. Everything happens for a reason, but the reason isn't predetermined. It's co-created through your willingness to find purpose in chaos, wisdom in confusion, order in apparent disorder. You don't control what happens, but you absolutely influence what it means and who you become through it. The Eye of Horus represents your capacity to see beyond the visible, to trust beyond logic, to find meaning beyond immediate understanding. It's the eye that has been broken and chosen to see again. It's the eye that knows that some of life's most important truths live in the spaces between certainties. This symbol has endured for over 3,000 years because it speaks to something eternal in the human experience. Our journey from innocence through destruction to wisdom, our capacity to transform wounds into sources of strength, our ability to find wholeness not by avoiding brokenness but by integrating it. You carry this eye within you. You always have. It's been developing through every moment of confusion, every season of chaos, every experience that left you feeling scattered and unsure. You've been learning to see with the eye beyond reason, the eye that trusts what cannot be measured, the eye that finds meaning in mystery. As we close, I want to leave you with a question that might change how you see everything that's happening in your life right now. What if the reason you've been looking for, the explanation for why certain things happened, the justification for the struggles you faced, the meaning behind the confusion you've experienced, what if that reason isn't missing at all? What if it's waiting in that sacred space beyond logic, in that missing 1/64th where the universe reserves its deepest truths? What if every unanswered question in your life is actually an invitation to develop a different kind of sight? What if every mystery you can't solve is actually an opportunity to trust a wisdom deeper than understanding? What if every experience that doesn't make logical sense is actually preparing you to navigate by the inner compass that operates beyond the reach of rational explanation? The Eye of Horus suggests that you already have access to this deeper way of seeing. You've been developing it all along, through every moment when you had to trust your intuition despite lacking logical proof. Every time you sensed something was true, even though you couldn't explain why. Every instance when you felt guided towards something that only made sense in retrospect. Tonight, before you go to sleep, I invite you to experiment with this ancient way of seeing. Instead of asking, why did this happen, about something in your life that's been troubling you, try asking, what is this here to teach me? Instead of demanding logical explanations of mysteries you're facing, try trusting that those mysteries might be protecting something precious, some insight or growth or redirection that isn't ready to be revealed yet. Can you learn to see with the eye beyond reason, the eye that trusts what can't be measured? Can you find peace in the missing fraction, knowing that it represents not what's absent from your life, but what's working in your life that you can't see yet? The universe has been patient with your questions. Now, maybe it's time to be patient with the universe's answers, trusting that they're forming in that sacred space beyond immediate understanding, in that missing 1/64th where all the most important truths are born. The Eye of Horus is watching. It sees more than you know, and it sees you more clearly than you see yourself. Trust what it sees.